So a few days ago, I posted a video showing off the new form of a desktop mode that is present on Surface Duo and Duo 2 with the Android 12L release, and I talked about how I thought this was a positive change. Now, I got some pushback from that claim from a handful of people who said, no, Shane, this is not a positive change, it's actually a regression. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why I understand where they're coming from, but why I don't agree and why I actually do think this is a step in the right direction. So let's look at a couple of things first. Mainly, let's look at what desktop mode, quote unquote, was prior to this most recent update. And to do that, I'm going to reference one of my own videos because I talked about this. A lot of people came to me and said, I basically acted like I didn't know what desktop mode was before on Duo when, of course, I had covered this. This will get a little bit trippy here because you're going to see me twice. But basically what I'm going to be showing you here is what desktop mode looked like before. If you went into your developer options and you enabled the thing that says force desktop mode, and then you plug it into a capture card in this instance or whatever else, this is what it looked like at that point. It was, scrunched way down and you were losing some icons. Like I should have some stuff visible there that isn't. It was just a very odd looking experience. And the reason for this is pretty obvious. It's because Surface Duo is a weirdly shaped device. And when you use Force Desktop Mode, it tries to scrunch it down to be 16 by 9 when it's not. I think if I'm remembering correctly, it's basically 3 by 2 if you look at both screens. So you're losing a ton of vertical space. So that's what you wind up with. Now, yes, just like now, you were able to use your phone separately. You can see that it wasn't affecting what was happening on the screen. I plugged in a mouse and keyboard to a USB-C hub, and then I was able to control that forced desktop mode separately from my phone. Now, there are also a lot of caveats while actually using this. So you're getting, apps launched in these floating windows. Now, there may have been a setting to toggle around so that it would open up like Duo normally does, like on one side of the screen and the other side of the screen. I don't actually recall, but minimum, you had them in these floating windows, which were resizable. Now, an important thing to keep in mind here was that if YouTube, like I just launched there, if YouTube was already open on my phone, if I had opened it on my phone and then it was just kind of running in the background, if I clicked on it on that desktop, it would just open up on my phone instead. You might have just saw there whenever I full screened, if you will, YouTube, that my widget was briefly in front of it. So that's definitely a little bit weird. There's a lot of weird stuff about this setup that really just did not work super duper well. Now the use case here, I guess, would be to plug your phone into a USB-C hub with a mouse and keyboard and then a monitor or a TV or something like that. And then I guess you could full screen video content or, whatever. To me, if you're going to watch video content, just cast the thing to your TV. The idea that you're going to be using this as some sort of a DeX competitor just is a little bit hard for me to believe. This is so clearly not something that Microsoft has put any effort into. This is something that's just in Android. This is not something Microsoft has built. There's been no effort put into this. And while it is technically functional and you can technically launch whatever app you want to launch, there are a ton of bugs with it. I had issues when I came out of this, when I went to go unplug it and disable it. I think that it deleted my, somehow my layout on my home screen got deleted. I had to reset it. Lots of just weird problems with this. So that's part number one. That's what we had before, and that's how it quote unquote worked before. Again, I get that some of you, I can't imagine very many of you, but some of you might have been using this, but for other people that were just saying, hey, I know how this works on other devices and thinking that's how it worked on Duo, it's not really the case. It did not work well on Duo at all. Well, what do we have now with 12L? If you plug in, do the same exact thing, force desktop mode, and you plug it into a external display, mouse and keyboard, whatever, this is what you get now. You get a clock in the middle, this weird bar at the bottom that I don't really quite know why that's there. You can kind of see it down here. And then you get a link to the remote desktop app from Microsoft in the corner. Obviously, you have to have that app installed, but that's what's there. And if you click on that, it's going to open up the RD app full screened. And then you have the ability to remote desktop into whatever computer you have set up to do this. As you can see here, I'm plugged into my TV with a mouse and keyboard, and I'm going to launch the RD app, and I'm going to remote into this computer. And you'll see here in a moment how well this actually does work. And it actually works really, really well. So the use case here is that now with your Duo, you plug it into, same thing, you got your Duo, you come home, you plug it into your hub and your mouse and your keyboard and your monitor, and you remote desktop into either your own computer, a work computer, or a like cloud PC, and that's what you're going to have instead of the stuff that we were talking about before, this weirdly scrunched up thing where you're running Android apps in a window that's kind of like Dex, but like infinitely worse than Dex for a million and one reasons. Another aspect of this that I don't really understand is that you can still just turn off forced desktop mode as it is by default and just mirror your phone. I mean, you're not going to be able to control your phone independently from what's happening on the screen, but you're also not going to need a mouse and a keyboard to control that other screen. You're not going to be all scrunched up. You're going to be able to launch whatever Android app you're going to want to launch. How does that not work better than what we have here? So this is where we're at. Before, we had this sort of malformed feature, clearly not meant for Duo, not customized by Microsoft, and there is a reason no OEM advertises the developer mode option forced desktop mode as a feature. Because it does not work particularly well. It's a very hacky solution, and I think it's meant more for development than it is for actual everyday use. That was what we had before. Now we have something that, yes, I understand it is limited. All we can currently use it for is to launch the remote desktop app. I get that. I get that it's more limited than what we had before. But it is something that Microsoft is working on. And no, it was not actually even mentioned in the changelog. It had to be discovered by enterprising individuals who just stumbled upon it. So it's not done, okay? This is still something that's being actively worked on. Maybe we're going to have the ability to launch Android apps of our choice alongside it. We just don't know right now. But at the end of the day, would you rather have the malformed thing that Microsoft had put no effort into, that did not work very well, it was all scrunched up and looked really, really weird, and I guess technically kind of worked, but might delete your home screen layout and so forth? Or would you rather have the thing that Microsoft is actively developing and working on? The thing that has a future, the thing that has a place to go from here. Yeah, I'm going to take the latter, not the former. And while I understand the complaints people have, I'm just happy that Microsoft is working on some sort of a desktop mode solution for Duo, not just saying, just use that weird halfway broken thing, force desktop mode in developer options. Is it complete? Is it feature rich? Is it perfect? No, but they haven't even announced it yet. It's something that is just kind of hidden in the thing at this point. Hopefully they keep working on it and it gets better over time. But again, I'm more happy, not that, it works the way it works, although I do think it actually works pretty well, in particular with like a laptop dock. It's kind of neat, actually. I'm more just happy that they're working on it than anything, okay? So that's where we're at. And frankly, some of you got very, very angry with me for having the opinion that I had. And to those of you that felt the need to get that vitriolic and angry, please stop watching my content if it is bringing you this much unhappiness and anger to your life. I do not want to be that kind of a negative influence on you. So please turn off the video, go for a walk in the park, try to relax. After all, it's only a phone. Guys, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.